What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? My name is Caleb.
I'm Damon.
And today we are going to break down our favorite albums from every year that we've been alive. But real quick, before we do that, if you don't mind doing me this one little favor, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and turning on the
notification bell.
It's right next to the subscribe button. It just helps me out. It'll help you out so that you'll be able to see when I release new videos. And I wanted to say off the top real quick, the reason that we're doing this is because I just wanted everyone to see how music impacts people differently from person to person. So our albums probably won't be the same as yours or each other's, but you know what? That's awesome. That gives us more to talk about. Hey guys, so I just wanted to add real quick that this wasn't an original idea. The first person that I saw do it was Aflo Media. I don't know if anyone else has done it since then, but I thought it seemed like a really cool idea. So I went ahead and subscribed, and I will leave a link to his channel in the description below if you want to go check out his video or subscribe to his channel.
Well, I was born a little bit before Caleb, so my first year is 1997, which for my album, my favorite album from that year is The Color and the Shape by the Foo Fighters. Probably most people know the song Everlong by the Foo Fighters. That would be the big song off this album, and it's a beautiful song.
So what, is that why you chose the album?
Just the entire album's great in general. Like My Heroes on this album, that's an awesome song too. Monkey Wrench. It was one of the first albums I got on vinyl, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Word.
For 1998, my album of choice is Phantom Power by the Tragically Hip.
Cajun's finest.
Yes, exactly. They're actually from Kingston.
Well, Bob Cajun's finest.
Yeah. The song Bob Cajun is on this album. I saw them live in Bob Cajun back, I don't know, probably would have been 2012 or something when they came.
I didn't know that.
It was awesome. When they sang the song Bob Cajun, the crowd went wild. It was just in this field out in the middle of nowhere.
Where that little white building is? That's like a farmhouse or something? Yeah?
Yep.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was super cool. So that was awesome. And I grew up on these guys. They're one of my dad's favorite bands, so this was a no-brainer for me for 1998. For 1999, my album of choice is Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. This was probably their biggest commercial album. It's got a ton of great songs on it. I love Scar Tissue and Other Side. I mean, the title track, Californication's awesome, but you guys know probably half of the track listing from this album because it was so popular. So if you haven't listened to it and you're a fan of alternative rock, listen to it right now. So the album for 2000, this was actually really tricky for me. I went through all my iTunes. Turns out that I don't have a lot of albums from 2000. So my pick was Parachutes by Coldplay. That's one of my favorite albums by them. It's very distinct from the rest of their sound. It's a lot more alternative and acoustic and folky than a lot of the stuff that's more familiar. Obviously, that's where the song Yellow is off of, so that was their big kind of starting place. So.
Okay, now we get to where I was born with 2001, and I don't have vinyls because I'm not as prepared. But I went with Momentum by Toby Mac just because I've listened to that a lot as a child, not so much anymore, but it's 2001. Not a lot of good albums came out that year.
My 2001 album is Morning View by Incubus.
I've never heard that.
It's a really interesting album. They're alternative rock, kind of blending nu metal with more like softer alternative stuff. Really inspired by Chili Peppers stuff. Really inspired by earlier nu metal stuff like Korn. They kind of incorporate alternative rock with some of that like Linkin Park style stuff. So really cool album too.
So for 2002, I went with one of the first CHH albums that I ever heard, and that was Collaborations by KJ52. I think this was like the second CHH album that I purchased behind Lecrae's Rehab. It was just a classic. I think it's his first project, so pretty cool to get him on early. Now I don't even think he raps anymore, but it's a good album, solid album, pretty funny.
My choice for 2002 is the self-titled album from Audioslave.
Oh, Audioslave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Isaiah's joint.
Yeah, Isaiah loves Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
So Audioslave is Chris Cornell with the members from Rage Against the Machine for the instrumentalist.
Yeah.
Awesome album. I think that was their self-titled one, so it was great.
It's a good album.
Yeah.
For 2003, I went with an album that I definitely wasn't listening to in 2003, but out of all of the ones that came out that year, I've listened to the most, and that's Speaker Box, The Love Below by Outkast. Hey Yeah, Roses.
Great, yeah.
Classic.
Good
Classic. It had like 40 songs on that album, so I mean, you gotta like at least one.
For 2003, I picked an album by A Perfect Circle called The 13th Step. Anyone who doesn't know A Perfect Circle, it's the lead singer from Tool. This is one of his other side projects. He has like 2 or 3 side projects from Tool, and it's just more of a melodic alternative rock type thing. It's a little heavier than most alternative rock, but not quite as progressive rock as Tool is.
2004, I went with a classic. Me and my brother used to listen to this album all the time. Letters to the President by Hawk Nelson. Great. I think their first project together.
Really?
Probably their best. So good. The Letters to the President title track, so good. It's just a classic, really. And I was gonna go with Lecrae's first album, but I figured I didn't want to repeat the same artist too many times, so I'll save them for later.
I have a vinyl for 2004.
This guy with his vinyls.
My 2004 album of choice is Hot Fuss by The Killers. Awesome album. Everybody knows the song Mr. Brightside. It's one of the anthems of my generation for sure. My favorite song on it though is All These Things That I've Done. Awesome song. Love the chorus. Love the refrain. Super awesome song.
2005, this was an album. This was a year that I really struggled to find an album. Of course, there was late registration, but I didn't want to go with that because I have Kanye coming up later. So I went with Nothing Is Sound by Switchfoot. Solid album.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite by them, but it's still pretty solid. It's got a couple great bangers on it. So I've definitely listened to it enough for it to body that year for me.
That's cool. I totally thought it would have been late registration for you.
Yeah. No, I figured there's probably gonna be a couple that are like that.
Yeah. For my 2005, I have this album somewhere on vinyl. I don't know where it went. A Fever You Can't Sweat Out by Panic at the Disco.
Oh, word.
That was their debut album. Everybody knows. What's that? I can't remember the name of the song.
Everybody knows that one song from this album.
Yeah, everybody knows the song I Write Sins, Not Tragedies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, super popular song,
Yeah.
especially among the kind of like pop punk emo kids.
It's a staple.
It is, it really is. And that album had such a unique sound, even for Panic at the Disco. They've never had an album that sounded like that since, so I love that album.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't realize that song was on their debut album. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, by the way, we're not sure if this is gonna be 1 part or 2 parts or whatever, so, you know.
If it is 2 parts, there would be a link to the second one in the description.
No.
Okay.
This will be the second one. No, wait, let's If it's 2 parts, then there will be a link to the first one and the second description, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Well, no, stop lying.
Well, you want to have a
If
link
this
to each
video
of them.
comes out first, how are they gonna get a link to the second video if it's not out yet?
I thought they would post at the same time.
No, I gotta spread my content.
Oh. But once the second one is out, then
Yes.
the link will be in the
Once
description.
the second one is out, you will see the link.
Quality
Where are we on?
content.
2006?
Yeah.
2006, I actually listened to this album a bunch in middle school. I don't know why. I was not in middle school in 2006. But it's After the Music Stops by Lecrae. Solid album for his second album. It had Jesus music on it, which is like really big, and that's such a like nostalgic song. They'll still play it from time to time at concerts. Like the RG concert, I think they played it for like 20 seconds and
Yeah.
everyone lost their mind. So I went with After the Music Stops.
Mine, you probably don't recognize it by this cover because this isn't the original cover. This is the 10th anniversary re-release, but this is "Welcome to the Black Parade" by My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, I didn't know that they had a special cover.
Yeah, this is the 10th anniversary re-release, so it's got a bunch of unreleased demos on it and stuff. Super cool. This is one of the most expensive albums I've ever bought. Yeah, awesome. Like every single track on this album, I love.
I mean, so far on my list, I would say that this is the best album. I don't think you would argue, but 2007, I have Kanye West, Graduation. Great. Oh my gosh, what a classic. One of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah.
I was just listening to it yesterday. You got Flashing Lights, you got Homecoming, you got Good Morning is one of my favorite songs.
I love the song Good Morning.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song on the album.
It's so good, and the artwork is amazing. I wish that we had the vinyl just so you could see the artwork, but if not, I'll throw it in the video. But
yeah,
great album.
It's interesting because I think you're gonna have back-to-back artists between 2007 and 2008, and I am too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So 2007 for me is Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy.
Fire.
I mean, it's got so many songs. Thanks for the Memories, The Takeover, The Break's Over, tons of stuff.
I considered this actually, but I was
really?
like, there's no way that it's gonna go over Kanye.
I didn't know that you listened to.
I don't, but I listened to that album.
This album is a really good album.
That was like 9th grade. I listened to that album. 2008, I have another one of my favorite albums of all time. Another Kanye album, 808s and Heartbreaks. You know how much I love this project. The people who I talk to regularly know how much I love this project. It's so good.
It's an awesome project, and like really, honestly revolutionary for like just production wise.
Oh yeah.
Like especially looking back now with like that kind of 2020 perspective. Oh, so good.
Oh, it changed hip hop and it changed pop music over the last 12 years. And it's gonna continue to be one of those legacy albums. You know, when people talk about Kanye, they talk about a bunch of stuff before 808s. But in 50 years, they'll probably talk about 808s first.
Oh, definitely. For me, my 2008 album is Folie Deux by Fall Out Boy. I'm probably pronouncing the French like awfully, but this is my favorite album by Fall Out Boy, which is really interesting because it was almost everybody's least favorite album by them. I just love it. Every single song on the album feels like an anthem to me, so it's great. But like, there were some pretty popular songs on this one. I Don't Care, America's Sweethearts, I think it's called. Yeah, America's Sweethearts. Awesome songs.
So 2009, I have Intermission by DJ Official. Now, for those of you who don't know, DJ Official was like the Reach Records DJ, like the staple DJ for the first 5-6 years. He got sick, got cancer, and eventually passed away in 2016. So this album is really special to me and a lot of CHH artists. This was his only solo project, but it's amazing. Check it out whenever you get a chance.
I don't know how I don't have this album on vinyl. I totally thought I did. This was my favorite album for like 5 years straight. It was Masterpiece Theater by Marinus Trench. I love that album. It wasn't their first album, but it was kind of the first one that really put them onto the scene. They had a couple fairly big songs off their first album, but this one was huge for them. Yeah. So I love that album. I love the 3 Masterpiece Theater songs. They're amazing.
Alright, that does it for part 1 of the video. Be sure to be on the lookout for 2010 through 2020 coming up very soon. Anything you'd like to add?
In the comments, let us know what your favorite was from all the years we talked about. Probably some of them might be the same as us. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great. Alright, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.